Hey, I'm Brian Miller, magician and motivational speaker, and welcome to Brian Miller Magic on YouTube. On this channel, we do inspiration, tips, and tutorials for creative people like you and me. And in this video, we are talking about the Movo VXR10 versus the Rode VideoMicro.
Oh, come on!
This is the last video I'm doing about these two microphones. I've already done 2 videos about the compare and contrast between them. I'll leave those both in the links below. Chances are if you're watching this, you've already seen them, but in case you haven't, the first video I did kind of covers, some of the features of the Movo. It does a quick audio test between the two, but it covers the price and what you get for this versus the Rode, which is more the standard for vloggers and YouTubers to use. And the other video was a true proper blind audio shootout between the two, which was really helpful. It illuminated a lot of the differences, whereas the first video, they sounded almost identical, but when I did a straightforward blind audio shootout between the two, you could tell that these were completely different microphones, even though they look very similar and they're a very similar price point. The Movo VXR10 versus the Rode VideoMicro. The Movo VXR10 versus the Rode VideoMicro. So why am I doing a third video? Well, I'm doing a third quick video because I keep getting asked ever since the blind shootout, which one do I like better? Which one have I been using for my vlogs? What's my recommendation for you to buy if you're not sure? So here it is. My recommendation is that it depends. I know, don't leave. It's the worst answer. I know it's the worst answer, but it really depends on what you're looking for in a microphone. Really listen to the difference between the two, and you'll notice that the Movo is much deeper and much richer. It's got a deeper bass response. In other words, the low frequencies, like I have a relatively low voice, right? I have a kind of a deep voice. Those frequencies are being accentuated. It's a weird word every time I say that out loud. You're hearing a lot more of the bass of the deep frequency response from the Movo, whereas the Rode has a brighter, crispier response. As a result, the Movo can, in some circumstances, sound a little muddied, whereas the Rode can sound overly harsh. Now, as for which one I've been using, ever since mid-December, I have been exclusively using the Movo VXR10. And there's a couple of different reasons that I've been using this one. First of all, let's start with the things that are not as good about this, though. Things that are not as good, the shock mount is nowhere near the quality of the shock mount on this one. Of course, I own both, so I could use this one, but I could use the Rode shock mount with the Movo microphone. But one of the reasons I like the Movo shock mount is it's a much smaller form factor, and so if you're putting it on a Canon M3 or M5 or M6, any of the Canon M series where they have that flip up screen, like what I'm using right now, and which is the M6 and like the M3 that I used to use, you need to put the microphone off to the side of it. If you're not sure how to do that, by the way, if you're looking for a solution, if you got a flip up screen, by the way, you can check out right here. I have a great solution, very cheap, simple to do, to mount the microphone on the side of the camera. But the point is, this is a much smaller form factor when it's sitting on the side of a camera, which means I have more flexibility in how I want it to point, and I can get it on the side of the camera pointed much more at my voice, at my mouth rather, whereas when I was using this, I had to be a lot, it often ended up kind of pointing while the camera was right in front of me. It would end up pointing kind of off to the side of my mouth. Not as good. I will say that I have found that the Movo is much more directional than the Rode is. In other words, the Movo, when it's pointed at me, it picks up fantastic. But if I've got the camera pointed away from me and I'm narrating and pointing to something, it gets really quiet. You have not been on the vlog in a long time.
I have not, yo.
Not muffled, but very quiet. So it's got a really good rejection from the back end, which can be helpful or it cannot be depending on your vlogging style. So, it depends. Having said that, when you're filming towards you and you're talking at it, you really do want it rejecting stuff that's coming from the back. So I find that using the Movo gives me a lot clearer audio, a lot more clarity, especially when I'm in crowded or noisy areas, or if there's, cars or buses or trains, or if I'm in a public place. This has worked out much better for me. The other reason that I really like having this one is because, again, I have a deep voice, which means when I was using the Rode, it was not accurately representing my voice the way that a high quality microphone would, because it was so crisp. When I would listen to it, I would just go, my voice doesn't sound like that. The Movo VXR10 versus the Rode VideoMicro. The Movo gives me that response, but occasionally overemphasizes it because it's emphasizing those low frequencies to begin with. The Movo VXR10 versus the Rode VideoMicro. The thing is, I have a background in audio. Those of you who've been on the channel for a while know that. I came from audio engineering over to video. I make a full-time living as a magician and motivational speaker. I've been all over in life. The point is that I have no trouble doing post-production on audio. In fact, I do post-production on audio in every single clip in every single vlog. So I go into my EQ settings and my compression settings for audio plugins, and I adjust what, I just realized I was kind of holding it like a cigar. Felt like Groucho Marx there for a second. Kind of look like him too. What was I saying? I'm gonna do the audio anyway. I tweak my audio in post. I find that the Movo gives me a much larger range of frequencies to work with. It's kind of like when you're doing video or photos, the more dynamic range that you capture, the more room do you have to play in post. Well, for me, it's the same thing. I get a cleaner signal going directly into the camera because it's louder, which means I can lower my camera's input audio signal, get more frequencies, and I think a little bit more dynamic range, which means I have more room to adjust the sound of this to whatever I want it to be in post. And for all of those reasons, I'm not recommending it just because it's cheaper. I actually think it's a better microphone, and I think for many people, for a lot of situations, it would be great for vlogging. However, if you're not planning on doing anything to your audio in post, if you just want to hit record on your camera and then you just edit and upload and you don't want to worry about or think about the audio at all, I think you would be better served with the Rode. I think the Rode is going to give you that vlog audio sound that you're used to hearing, and it's going to give you a simplified process for getting there quickly. That is what I've been doing. That is my recommendation. That's what I've been using, the Movo. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if it was. Hit the like button. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have vlogs and camera gear, reviews and tutorials, and I have inspirational videos about creativity and can learn about all the different aspects of what it takes to make a living doing something that you're passionate about. Let me know if you'd actually like to see a series of videos on simple audio editing, kind of audio editing 101, dealing with basic EQ and compression, ways to adjust, fix, and tweak your audio in post. Let me know if that would be interesting to you. If I get enough people that want that, I'll do a series of those videos. So anyway, thanks so much for sticking with me, and always remember that our world is a shared experience. Have a great day. I don't know why I picked these up just now. I don't know what I was planning on doing with that. Juggle.